Yo, what's going on, people? It's the Kitty G on EGTV, and we're back again with another video of Arsenal News Today. It's been a while since we last had an Arsenal News Today video, but there's a lot of news to talk about. A shock potential transfer for Leroy Sane, in addition to some breaking news out of potential January targets, such as Douglas Luiz, Danilo, and the Ukrainian Neymar speaking out about the potential transfer to joining Arsenal, in addition to the fact that Arsenal's games this weekend have been postponed. Could it be postponed next weekend also? And will Arsenal even play midweek versus PSV? All this plus more on EGTV. Let's get the show started. On today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we got a big show for you guys. Of course, there's been a lot of updates, but after Her Majesty the Queen has passed away, they postponed the games, and the games will be postponed for this weekend, and we are unsure of the status for next weekend's Arsenal game versus Brentford. Will we play? Also, Fabrizio Romano gives us an update on a shock transfer move for Leroy Sane. Yes, we'll get into more of that, plus more. In addition to young Ukrainian winger has been linked to Arsenal, speaks on the transfer. So does Douglas Luiz, speaking about a potential January transfer. Rumor has it that this move might not happen with the Brighton midfielder Caicedo, and Arsenal are still big fans of Danilo, and this might be the final straw for Matt Turner. Let's get into it. Yes, people. What's going on? It's the Kitty G on EGTV, and I'm back again with another video. I got Gunnar Souls in the house with me. Gunnar Souls, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? It's been a weird weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely been a weird weekend with no Premier League football in action. I don't know if you guys have been watching other leagues or what you guys have been doing. I'm going to get ready to watch the NFL today, and I've been working some overtime at work, so there will be no Vibes from the 6 tonight at 10 p.m. as the usual scheduled time. We will then, we will be doing another show tomorrow, and I will not spoil what the show is going to be about, because you know how people are on YouTube, they copycat too much. So we'll keep that in-house. But let's get into it. Also, we have about 26 of you guys in the chat. Make sure all of you guys smash that like button right now. It helps the channel out a lot. It helps the brother out a lot. And all we need to do here is continue to show the love and continue to grow the channel, as the channel has been going for over 2 years now. And it's crazy. Literally 9 days away from 2-year anniversary from this channel being a thing, and it's pretty crazy how fast time flies. 13.5 plus thousand subscribers, all the love and support you guys have shown me. I'll continue to be doing Arsenal news shows throughout the whole season, even though it's not the transfer window. We'll continue to keep you updated on all the Arsenal news. So keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below on whatever you think while we're talking throughout the show. Gunnar Souls, I know I had a lot to say right there, but we got so much to get into. I don't know if you've heard, there's been so many rumors. I'll put a bunch of the stuff in the private chat, but we have to get started with the Premier League being postponed. We spoke about this already on the last show that we did, and we knew that it was going to be postponed. But do you think it will affect next week's games?
I mean, from obviously just reading the articles and reading the news and making my own assumption, if obviously there's been an approved bank holiday for Monday for like a national holiday to take place, and that's looking like when the burial and stuff will be happening. So if I'm going off of what we've seen, chances are the games will be called off, just out of sort of that respect that people want to go and people want to pay their respects, where potentially where they'll be laying to rest and stuff. So I'm just making an assumption that, based on like an educated guess, that yes, they will be called off. If they called it off this week, then I'm guessing they'll call it off next week. But the only thing is, if they're allowing Europe to go ahead, they're probably going to look at that and go, we can just let this go, because England have played, and I don't think England cricket team is playing next week. So even if you want to take those things into consideration, there'll be less sporting events taking place. So they may just let the Premier League go ahead, or they may reverse their decision. But they kind of need to come out and tell us sooner than later, because they can't have another situation where within 24 to 48 hours prior to those events taking place, then we find out. And I think a lot of people are like, yeah, they can get refunds, they can get reimbursements and all of that. But you've got to understand, people who are coming from abroad don't always come on the day, and they may not always come on like the Friday. They might already be here so they can't refund their travel ticket. And in some cases, if you're coming from across the country, like across the continent, like let's say America, Canada, China, like Asia, it can cost like £500, £600, £700. And if you've used that ticket, they're not going to refund you just because you can't do what you came there to do. So it's a bit of a unfortunate situation, should we say, that things are being cancelled, but they can't do it twice in a week. So my guess is we'll probably know by Wednesday at the latest.
Let me show you guys what we know at this moment in time. What we know is Arsenal's Europa League match versus PSV will go ahead. The Metropolitan Police have confirmed that it will take place, expecting official confirmation this weekend. And it has been confirmed because PSV fans have been notified that they will be allowed to travel to London to watch the game because the game will go ahead. Now, there are concerns, however, over next weekend's Premier League fixtures. Arsenal play Brentford on Sunday, and it is at risk of being called off. This is due to safety concerns because the Metropolitan Police will be very busy with everything going on and the proceedings going on at Buckingham Palace and the preparation for the funeral. So with that being said, that might mean that all of the games that are taking place within the vicinity of London might be canceled. I don't know if every game in the Premier League will be cancelled though next week. Upcoming Champions League matches, Rangers, Napoli, Ibrox are pushing back a day and will now be played on Wednesday. Of course, because there will be so much people going towards everything over there. Anything else here on the Athletic? Nope, don't see anything else. So yeah, that's the latest update on that. Big up Tommy in the house. Big up Matt. Chelsea fan watching, really do appreciate all the support, guys. Don't continue to hit that like button, guys. We got 38 of you guys right here. Keep hitting that like button. We get over 50 plus people in here in 2 seconds. The stream's already started. We already got 11 likes. You can do much better than that. Also, we have a question in the poll. Do you think the Brentford game will go ahead? 50-50 right now. People in the chat are saying 50% believe it will, 50% believe it won't. If I have to give my announcement on that, I think this game will go ahead. I have no question. I think the Brentford game, the PSV game will go ahead, right? The Brentford game, I'm not too sure about. I think the PSV game will go ahead, but the Brentford game, I'm not sure about. I think the Brentford game is going to get called off.
I mean, Spurs indirectly confirmed Europe's going ahead because they said due to technical issues, the website says the game is postponed, but that's an error. So if you read into that, I mean, that's Spurs' official account saying this. So you can read into that what you will, but that to me suggests Europe's going to go ahead, but we don't know about anything else yet.
Yeah. Okay. And then now we're gonna shift away quickly over to something else. But before we do that, let's just see if there's any comments in regards to this. Yeah, UCL will go ahead. Prim will go ahead. Big up my guy right here. Big up Indiana, always supporting. Really do appreciate my guy Indiana. Indiana, we need to get you on the show Monday. Monday, I need you. Make sure you reach out to me. Actually, message me when if you're hearing me right now. But yo. Let's talk about the Edu's masterclass. Or everyone might have a different impression on this, but I view it as an Edu masterclass. What he's been able to do. You know that the Brazilian coach was in town a couple weeks ago, right? And he was keeping a close eye on our 3 Brazilians. There is no way that he didn't pick any of them. It just happens to be that he didn't pick any of the Brazilians to go for this upcoming international break. I think Gabriel Jesus is good enough to be in that team. I think Gabriel Magalhaes is good enough to be in that team. And Martinelli has been on fire, and he's in better form than some of the players that he picked to go for that thing. Do you think this was an Edu masterclass? Because neither of the 3 Brazilians have been selected for Arsenal's. Neither of the 3 Brazilians in Arsenal's team have been selected for the Brazilian national team for this upcoming international tour versus Ghana and Tunisia later this month. Could that be an Edu masterclass, or could it just be that he doesn't view them good enough for the World Cup? Because I can't believe a world where Gabriel Jesus is not in that Brazil team. I can't believe a world where Gabriel Magalhaes is not in that Brazil team. Martinelli, questionable. But at the same time, his form, I think he deserves to be in it. This right here kind of shocked me, but it's good news for Arsenal. Good news for the players being fit and available for our next couple games. But could they miss out on the World Cup?
The only one I'm certain what miss out is Gabriel Jesus. The other two, I've got 50-50 doubts on, because if you look at Gabriel Magalhaes' overall form this season, like start of this season and kind of near the end, it's not been the best, if we're being completely honest and we're being critical. And Martinelli, yeah, he deserves a shout, but unfortunately, the talent that Brazil have in that forward line, it is superb. Like, it's magnificent. And you also got to take into consideration international experience. And this is probably, Tite's probably looking at it as, this is one of our best opportunities to go and make a mark on the world stages again. And sometimes they use these sort of friendlies just prior to a major tournament as a way to see whether those fringe players or those very 50-50 players are good enough to make it in. So it could be a few things. I mean, we can only speculate what's happened. If Tite was in town and Eddie's had a conversation with him, we know Gabriel can pick up, Jesus can pick up injuries. We know Martinelli can pick up injuries, and Gabriel Magalhaes has also missed a few games due to illness, due to cramping, due to little muscle issues, not major ones, but just few niggly knocks here and there. So they're probably using it as a way of, okay, we'll just be precautionary with players who do regularly pick up injuries, rather than risking them in a friendly and then having them out for the World Cup, or they're staple pieces within the Premier League that need to play for Arsenal. So what we'll do is we'll allow them to play for Arsenal, knowing they're good enough to play for Brazil and they can just come into the World Cup squad. So there's a lot of different ways to think about it, because I don't think Ibanez and I can't remember who the other centre back is, are better than what we have. But even if you look at them, barely any of them have played regular Brazilian minutes. So even if you look at Ibanez, for example, and I think the other one is Bremer, who are the only ones who have just recently been introduced into the squad. But if you look at their attackers, I mean, if Martinelli misses out, it doesn't mean he's a bad player. It's just some of those players are just extremely, extremely talented. And then when it comes to Jesus, he easily slots in. He's the only true sort of goal scoring number 9 that they have. Someone who can do a bit of all. Other players have one or the other, whereas in my opinion, Jesus is the only one that can do both if you need him to. He can be a fox in the box, but he can also be that holder player, and also in the same game do both. Play right wing as well, and also now he's shown he can play at the left. So
if you're playing with a back four, right?
yeah,
And you only bring 3 left backs. I mean, you only bring 3 wingers. I mean, like left fullbacks, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 center backs. Is he changing the system to a back 3, or like what is this? Because like he has way more. It's a little bit imbalanced. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 attacking players, right? That can play across the front 3, which is normal. He's brought about 6 midfielders, but then in total, he only brought about what, seven total defenders throughout it, or sorry, 8. So that's basically 2 back fours. But in my opinion, I think Gabriel is definitely going to probably get into this team if his performances are the same. Gabriel Jesus probably gets into his team. Martinelli's the one that probably misses out for me. But at the same time, do you know Mateus Conch or Pedro? Pedro or some of these guys that are in the attack, because Anthony just came in at United and he's already been chucked in. Was he in there before? I don't know.
Anthony was called up prior to Martinelli being given his first cap, I believe. So he's been in and around that squad for quite a while. And also, you got to consider his Ajax form was different, and obviously coming into United isn't the only definitive factor. So there is a reason why, but also this is the last time Tite gets to experiment. So he's probably looking at those players who he thinks might be good for his system, but he doesn't know because he hasn't tried them enough. So he's probably going to give them 2 easy games to be able to kind of give him that proper game time to play him. But also, yeah, like Indiana says, like they do play different sides of the wing. So he's probably looking at who can play on the right better. Martinelli's only played, I believe, once or twice for us. I mean, the Newcastle performance when Tomiyasu came on and they shifted Martinelli over to the right and he scored that goal. And I can't remember the other time he's played on the right. So he's probably just experimenting, and it's the last. It's a weird season. because it's never happened in the winter, and we've never really had a friendly before a major tournament. So he's probably using it as a time just to embed those players in and see how they perform. I don't really know. I mean, when the World Cup squad comes out, that's when we'll have our answers, whether it's an Edu masterclass or whether it's a situation where it's just they weren't good enough. We'll find out sooner or later. But if Gabriel Jesus doesn't, that's an injustice. Him, the other two, I get. I'll be completely honest, but Jesus, I won't understand.
No, I hear that. I hear that. Definitely hear that. Now, I'm just gonna give you guys a quick little update on some stuff. But before we do that, we got only 16 likes. We got 53 of you guys in the chat. What are you doing, guys? Come on, it takes 2 seconds. If you've been watching us, all you gotta do is click that button, hit that like button. It's absolutely free, right? Partey has been updated and been put in the Ghana squad. Yes, he has. Partey has been put in the Ghana squad. If you guys haven't already seen it, Thomas Partey has been selected to the squad for the Black Stars in September. His update on his injury is that he will be fit, available for Ghana's games. And this is a little bit of a blow, because if Partey is going to be available and coming back from injury, and the first thing he does is go out on international duty, I'm just a little worried that international coach plays him a lot, gets injured, and then we have our situation where we're back to square one. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he comes out of the international break quite okay and fit and ready to go. And that's my main thing. But yeah, I have no qualms over it. This is an agreement between FIFA and the club's organizations that if a player is available and fit to play, they pick him. And you can't stop them from picking him. You can suggest that they don't pick him, but they're gonna still pick him anyways. But yeah. In other injury news, Cedric is going to be fit and available, and Smith Rowe is going to be fit and available coming out after this little break. But yeah, do you have anything to say on those injuries?
Yeah, the Partey one, I'm a bit worried unless they've given instructions. I hope they have, because sometimes they do. So I'm just hoping that they get listened to and he's embedded in properly, because Ghana won't have an idea on obviously the injury, where he's up to, how they've sort of what the rehabilitation process has been. So I'm just hoping they take the advice on board. He's clearly fit enough, or it's maybe a calculated thing from Arsenal to say, look, we're not going to be able to give him games due to them being called off, or the only time he's going to get is PSV, which might be too early. So they might be using that as an opportunity. Give him 30 minutes, give him 45 minutes, whatever, and let's just see how he's doing. So it could be that in a non-competitive situation. But it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. The Brazilian squad have Fred starting. They are going to need Jesus. That's funny. Just to show you guys, there was a picture. Even you know how sometimes, how do they get these pictures? They just get pictures of players ready to go in training. So somehow they got a picture of Cedric and Emil Smith Rowe from yesterday training. I don't know if Arsenal released photos for training, but yeah, this picture surfaced of Smith Rowe and Cedric fit and available. So that's good. We're going to possibly see them in the Europa League games, hopefully. That's good news. Now, are you a big Serie A watcher?
I didn't watch it this weekend. I normally watch it. I didn't really get a chance to watch it. No, I didn't. I didn't watch any of it this weekend.
Okay, because
I actually went to sleep because the UFC was on and stuff. So I went to sleep just to be ready for that.
Yeah, I've been working night shifts, so I was up regardless. It's good when you're working and you got something to distract you with. But Fabrizio Romano has reported Arsenal target Sandro Tonali has extended his contract until 2077. So once again, people using Arsenal to get a contract extension, ladies and gentlemen. Now this guy's a baller. He helped them win the league. He was a very integral part. They weren't going to lose him ever on a cheap or so all these rumors that were surfacing in the summer, they might have been an opportunity, or it could have just been something that was conjured up to help him get a new deal. So AC Milan have reached a contract agreement with Tonali. He's extended until 2027. This does rule out a move to an English club. No talks during the summer with any English clubs confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. So that Arsenal rumors were complete BS. And yeah, this just happens all the time, man. If Arsenal, if you want a new deal, you just link yourself to Arsenal and you get a new deal. It's pretty straightforward, simple.
Yeah, it's becoming more an increasing pattern that we get linked to all these players that I don't even know what, because it's always some Fugazi links as well. It's never a reliable link. And then next minute, you know, they've re-signed a contract. I'm like, you can see what's going on here.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones where it just happens to be that way all the time. Honestly, I just think every player that we're linked to, or United's linked to, or any of us are linked to, somehow they end up signing a new deal in a couple of weeks' time. Now, guess what? Arsenal have been linked to, Manchester United have been linked to, Chelsea have been linked to, Tottenham have been linked to, Manchester City have been linked to, a Brighton midfielder called Musa Caicedo. And I've watched him closely since he's been playing for Brighton these past couple of weeks. He scored a goal. He's played well. He's done a lot of business. And you know what? Arsenal were possibly looking at getting him in January again. But guess what? Once again, my guy, same thing. They signed a new deal. They signed a new deal. Brighton will attempt to fend off interest from Manchester City, including other clubs. The Seagulls will attempt to tie him down to a new offer of a contract. This came from the Mirror about 2 hours ago, reporting that this is a pretty reliable source coming from the Mirror, stating that they will try to tie him down to a new deal as soon as possible. So here's another player that we could have potentially got in our midfield that is now going to be signing a new deal at his current club. Just goes to show you, if you need a new contract, link yourself to a top 6 club. That's how it works. Anything you got to add on that, man? Because it's pretty straightforward.
I think with this one, if he does sign, then fair enough. But they could be using it to just sign him on to avoid him leaving. But if the interests are strong enough, I'm sure his head will be turned. He's not going to want to stay at Brighton because now Graham Potter's gone. What direction do they take? I know they're a well-run-ish club, but if they don't replace right, then it's going to be a downhill kind of thing for them, because in my opinion, they've overperformed with the squad they've had because Graham Potter's just that good of a manager. And if Caicedo's looking at it and he doesn't really get on with the new manager, or he doesn't like the idea of the new manager, then he's not going to sign that contract. So there's a few things we're going to wait for, but I don't know if it's as concrete as he's definitely going to re-sign.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go to this one next. We played this before. We played the audio before, but I'm just gonna play it again for you guys to watch. Everyone in the comment section, let me know if you guys think this kid's a baller. What do you guys think about him? He's played in the Champions League this past week, and he looked really, really good. Honestly, he's impressed me quite a bit. But yeah, let's hear what he had to say about his move to Arsenal potentially. Let me know if you can hear it also.
Not Ukrainian Neymar, it's Ukrainian Mudryk. This sounds is better. Mudryk is top player. It's one of the best player on whole time.
You have been linked with a move to the Premier League. Has that been difficult with all the speculation?
In winter, we will see. Was a lot of this.
Did you hear that? He basically said in winter we will see, basically hinting that the move could still happen in January.
Discuss about this transfer, about clubs who wants me, but it's normal. Now I'm in Shakhtar and I want to play in this team. I love this team. I love every guy in this team. Shakhtar for me, it's my home. But now, for me, very important is all my thoughts only about Shakhtar. But in winter, we will see.
Do you dream of playing in the Premier League one day?
Yes. I think every guy dreamed about the Premier League.
Is there a dream club that you would like to play for one day? With Modric at Real Madrid, with Arsenal, who reportedly are interested?
Yes. It's hard to say, but Arsenal is very good team, very good coach. I like the way they played. It's like they play.
If Arsenal made an offer this winter, it would be hard to say no?
Yes, it's from my side. I can't say no.
I just wanted to end it there. Basically, if we come in for him in the January and we're serious and Shakhtar accept, he's pretty much our player. But here comes the question: do you think Arsenal will go back in for him?
It's tough to say, but we did put a bid in which was rejected, or they came back and said they wanted double the amount that we bidded. So I do think we could. I mean, obviously the interest is there. We've already known that even in the summer, the interest from the players there. So that side of things was never going to be an issue. It's just more about accepting the fee and getting somewhere where we don't feel like we're overpaying for a player, which is something that we're starting to do. Is we want to pay a fair price. We're kind of trying to implement the sort of buying power that City kind of have, where if they have a set budget, let's say for Cucurella's deal, for example, they only wanted to go to 50 million. Brighton came back and said, no, we want 60 or 65, whatever it was, or whatever Chelsea bidded, and City walked away. That's the kind of approach it seems we're going to be taking, where we're only going to go up to a certain amount, and then if that doesn't get accepted, then we'll walk away from the deal. And it's just a matter of whether the player picks up a fuss enough for them to go back to Arsenal and go, okay, we'll accept the deal. But I do think we'll do something in the January window, whether it's Mudryk, whether it's Pino, whether it's a Neto. In my opinion, out of the lot, I'd rather wait and get Rafael Leao in the summer. That'd be the dream move for me. Or I'd try and go for Kvara as well and try and see what we can do with both, because for me, Kvara looks to be a better player. Like if you're looking in the current market. But I'm not going to be disappointed if we get either one of them, because they're all very, very high ceiling, very highly prospected players who have every ability to succeed. And they're a goal-threatening winger, so they can score goals and they can be an inside forward, which is what we kind of miss. So the answer is, I do think we'll do something. I just don't know what player we're going to go in for.
I don't know if we're going to actually spend that type of money on Neto. Guys, if you don't know the Neto thing, people are saying Pedro Neto or Pino. No, Pino's not happening, bro. Pino's not happening. He was there. He was available. We didn't want him. Pedro Neto, 50 million plus, potentially. But what they want, 80 mil, it's not happening. Basically, the Norton Gibbs White deal screwed up the Pedro Neto deal, because the price that they got for Norton Gibbs White made them very confident that they could get a ridiculous price for a thing. So yeah, that dude, that dude got out of his country. He would never even.
No, he's saying he basically Mudryk just wants out of Ukraine. He'd even join Nottingham Forest if you had to.
Who knows? I don't think they're playing in Ukraine. But yeah, we're going to talk about Leroy Sane in a second. Bro, did you see the David Dein stuff? Do you think this is relevant to today? He was speaking about why we lost Ashley Cole, and he wasn't saying it wasn't about the money. He was saying it was tough to compete with Chelsea and later and Man City, of course. He's saying when it comes to financials, so they were paying a lot higher fees to players. So no matter what, it's going to be difficult for us to match what they would be able to offer our players if they moved on a free transfer, of course.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, money talks. We see it in football all the time. I don't think people talk about like heritage and sort of historical like clubs like Barcelona, Real Madrid. Even they're going to need to change their strategy a little bit, because as much as that holds weight in certain areas of football, and it still does to certain players, but the large majority are there for the money, they're there for the fame, and they're there to see how much exposure they can get. Like for a lot of them, they'll give up a Ballon d'Or opportunity just to make more money. So, and actually have a legacy in football. And that's the sad version of football that we're going to. And that's not 100% of players before people sit there and go, what about this player? What about this player? And also, go get your bag. I'm not angry at these players for doing that, because we do it on a day-to-day. Granted, we don't make as much money, but if we got the opportunity to make ludicrous money and then make even more ludicrous money in another company, we'd go and do that. But I do think money talks in this world, and unfortunately, that's just how it's going to be. Who can give them the biggest brand exposure? Who can give them, that sort of fame that Insta famous or that sort of YouTube fame, the Twitch fame, who's going to allow them to be a brand essentially is where people are now moving. And at the moment, when you look at it, Man City seems to be a really good place to go. Real Madrid and Barcelona still hold that sort of status. They're still global conglomerates in terms of football, in terms of just followers. So unfortunately, what David Dean's saying, granted, he said it way before time. And I think in the time, it probably wasn't a thing, but it has definitely become the new norm. And Wenger said it, you're going to see more players going on freeze. You're going to see more players running out their contracts, getting their contracts terminated, etc. So I think we're seeing that reality come to fruition. They just seen it earlier.
I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. I'm just going to say it quickly. Our young players doing really well over there in France, in Bellerin, Nuno Tavares, shout out to them. I think Bellerin right now is tied for the second leading goal scorer or the third leading goal scorer in the league after Kylian Mbappe and Neymar. And then you have Nuno Tavares playing out of his skin at Marseille, and he wants to stay there. Really good to see that. But I actually wanted to spend more time on Hector Bellerin. I don't know if you've seen, Hector Bellerin got his first start for Barcelona, and I know you're very closely in keeping tabs on what's going on at Barcelona because you're somewhat you have an affinity to Barcelona. But what did you think of Hector? Guys, let me know. What do you guys make of Hector Bellerin's debut at Barcelona, and the fact that the man's at Barcelona now? Like, isn't it kind of weird? A guy that we didn't deem good enough for us is at Barcelona starting.
No, I thought he did well. I think. I mean, then again, like Cadiz isn't really a tough opposition. Like it's a comfortable win. It's not one of those fixtures you look to and go, crap, like they should be losing this. But they did have a rotated 11. They had a few first teamers, but a lot of that team, like Depay came in. You know, they had Rafinha who starts for them. They didn't have Pedri. They didn't have the likes of Frankie de Jong starting. So a lot of their team wasn't what they should have been. So in that sense, yes, he had a good debut with new players, with fringe players, and that's never easy. I mean, playing at Barcelona, he suits them. The thing is, like, his lack of pace is very well suited for certain games in La Liga. The La Liga can be slower. It can be a bit more methodical. It can be more tactical. So as long as his positioning, as long as his sort of awareness is on point, he won't be exposed. Whereas in the Premier League, you do come across a lot more sort of weird wingers or technical wingers. Whereas in La Liga, it's a mixed bag. You can come across those converted midfielders, if that makes sense. Like Iniesta used to play left wing for us sometimes. And then sometimes you get those players who are really techie on the ball playing on the wing, but they have no pace. So for those games, like even with Cadiz, they're not the fastest players. So it's easier for Hector Bellerin to debut in these kind of games and be very well and be good. But he has got experience. I know it may not be the best experience, and he's not really won any like sort of major honors, but he has won a few FA Cups here and there. But at the same time, he's now back at a club he loves, and I feel Xavi needs a little bit of experience to just teach those players. And especially, you know, when players go through an injury phase or if they go through a bit of adversity, Bellerin's been there, and I think he's been at the bottom of that sort of experience. So when he comes to it, he can teach those players a lot more than a lot of players who you can buy. So it's a really good acquisition for them, and it's good for us just to get him off the wage bill. And now he's somewhere where I feel like he'll be loved regardless of how he performs if he plays, just because Spanish, he's a La Masia boy, etc. So it's really good for him.
You know what? I didn't rate Hector Bellerin at his end of his career at Arsenal, but you know what? Fair play to him, living his dream, doing his thing at Barcelona. Shout out to him, man. Let's just now quickly move over to this guy here. So this is not a transfer target, but he's come on Arsenal's radar because, of course, every time a player says their dream move is to join Arsenal, what happens is subsequent articles are written. This is a 23-year-old, 6'3" Danish center forward. He plays as a striker for Wolfsburg. He hasn't yet registered a goal this season. He's quite cheap. But he was then talking about his dream of playing for Arsenal. The forward reveals his desire to move to Arsenal in the future. He responds to speculated links with him and transfer to a Premier League over the summer. So yeah, he was speaking about how he would potentially love to come to Arsenal. So would I. So would you. Everyone would. But at the same time, I don't think this is something that's actually going to come to fruition. This is just another player who is putting his name out there. Could potentially even be getting himself a move somewhere else, but I don't think this is somebody who Arsenal are seriously after. And if we were after a striker, yes, we may be wanting a taller striker, but he would have to have had at least some impact in the clubs that he's played at. He's played at Copenhagen, he's done well there, but since he's moved to the Bundesliga, he hasn't been able to hit the ground running. So a guy who's played over a year in a couple games and has yet to register 10 league goals in the Bundesliga, I don't think Arsenal will be looking to spend money on at this moment in time. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else anything you know about this guy, or should we just move on?
I don't watch enough Bundesliga, so no, I don't have nothing to add.
Okay, since we're on the Bundesliga, now let's get on the main event. Leroy Sane. I'm just gonna keep it real. Just gonna keep it real with the Leroy Sane stuff. This is not a surprise to me that we're being linked to him again. We were linked to him last year in the summer. Fabrizio Romano coming out making some claims that Arsenal are potentially eyeing the transfer of Leroy Sane again. I don't know if I've seen any tweets from him about this, but let me just check. So, of course, Leroy Sane moved from Manchester City to Bayern Munich. He's performed very well for them over their first couple games in the Champions League this past week, and the rumor has it that he could potentially be joining Arsenal. He could potentially be joining Arsenal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would be very excited if he did join Arsenal. But here's what Fabrizio Romano said on Leroy Sane next summer. I'm not sure. It could be true because this summer they had the possibility to try, but they are never 100% convinced. It is about the age and about healing and a lot of things. So yeah, here's what he actually had to say. Let me just show you on the screen. Let me just show you guys on the screen what he actually had to say. Fabrizio Romano on Leroy Sane next summer. I am not sure. It could be true because this summer they had the possibility to try, but they were not 100% convinced. It's about age. It's about, is that healing? And about a lot of things. So Fabrizio Romano is making his point clear that Arsenal had a chance to sign Leroy Sane, and we were a little bit unsure about the signing. Could that be from our end? Could that be from his end? We need to find out more information. But at this moment in time, Leroy Sane to Arsenal, that could be an interesting one. And here's the actual moment in which he did it on his Twitch stream. Somebody asked him the question, Arsenal, true or not true? And he said it was true. So there you go. But yeah, talk to me. What do you think?
I think it'd be a quality signing. I don't think anyone can turn their noses up on Leroy Sane or even Serge Gnabry coming to Arsenal. Either one of them would be an absolute fantastic signing. It'd be a level-raising signing for us. The experience they'll bring from winning, pretty much everything there is to win in world football, to be in those dressing rooms, to be within managers, and also it could be, what brings Sane back to his very best, because he did attribute a lot of his success to Mykhaylo Mudryk in the way that their one-on-one training sessions, the little advice that he used to give, his body positioning, and all of those things were things that Arteta and Sane worked together on. So it could very well happen. We've seen Gabriel Jesus fend off a lot of big clubs and a lot of clubs that are in better positions to sign him. He chose Arsenal for Arteta. So this could be another situation of an ex-Arteta player or someone who Arteta's worked with wants to work with him again just to revive his career or just to bring him back to his very best. I mean, if you look at that article when it talks about healing, I mean, Sane's gone through a few big injuries, and that could be a concern where we're not willing to take, because it's not going to be cheap. It's still going to cost us 50 million or in that sort of ballpark. and you're not going to be looking at anything less. And if he's a player that's going to come in and have those injuries or have reoccurring injuries throughout the season, when we're relying on him to be the guy to take us to a title challenge or take us to, just leapfrog like a title, maybe potentially winning a title or one of the major honours, and he gets injured, then you've put £60 million into a player that we knew was a risk. So they're probably just going to monitor things like that and go, we don't know because of the type of injuries he's had. But we'll have to wait. I mean, I think there is something big coming. I think we're at that stage where we're not going to sign small players because we can't make stopgap signings anymore. They have to be bona fide superstars. They have to be, players who are at the very, very best now and not players who can get there. And Sane is probably one of the best names you can buy.
Interesting. I like that. All right. So what do we say? What do we say next? What do we say next? Like, if this is possible, do you think it can happen like this? Do you think we'll be able to get it over the line as soon as possible, or do you think it's just going to be something where it's going to be spoken about for months and months and months, but there's no actual legs behind it?
I mean, if we've been given the opportunity, there's clearly something stopping us from signing him. But if we wanted him, I'm guessing the opportunity is there to sign him. We wouldn't really be interested in a player who doesn't want to come to us. So it's always difficult. I mean, transfers are hard to predict because sometimes they just do go on forever. Like with look at Rafinha, for example. He was bidding for every club. He spoke to like every club, and then Barcelona finally made it happen. So sometimes these things, especially the top side, like the big signings, Mbappe didn't renew his contract until the very end moment. Even though PSG knew what he wanted, what his demands were, but it was the player that was unsure of whether he wanted to sign or not. So sometimes these bigger profile players just take time. And it's not about whether the legwork's there or not. It's just there's a lot of risks that players are taking from, especially Sane, going from Bayern Munich, who are basically guaranteed to win, to Arsenal, we can win, but we don't know. We can't sit here and go, we're not Man City where we can be like, mate, if you come, we are going to win. We're not there yet. We've not proven it yet. So it's a bit difficult. We're like sort of not got all the power in these negotiations to take a player from a winning club. So I don't know. It's tough, but I do think there's going to be a lot of back and forth. There'll be Sane, Gnabry, then it may be other players like that, and then we'll finally get something. But I do think it's going to be a big player. There can't be more. They're okay potential signings.
Let me know, people in the chat. Do you believe Leroy Sane will join Arsenal? Do you think it is possible? I feel like Neto or Sane must happen. We have spent another season in the Europa League mud. Of course, it can happen. The doors are not closed. The deal, ITK stuff fans use. Okay, you lost me at the end. But yeah, I think the deal is potentially on the cards, but will it happen? Who knows? I think you're always keeping that door open. You're never going to close it. But I think Champions League football is going to have the big part to play with that. We're going to need to get Champions League football to get him through the door. Even if we're in the Europa League, we could get him, but we're going to have to pay high over the odds. Do you want to do a Casemiro situation and pay ridiculous money? We got to see. But yeah, moving on quickly to the last two transfers of the day. Douglas Luiz. Yo, buddy, someone's got to tell Douglas Luiz, you missed your opportunity, bro. You missed your opportunity because you can keep talking about wanting to come to Arsenal, twerking for Arsenal all summer, but your club screwed you over. On the final day, we bid a reasonable amount of money. They didn't want to sell him, and now he's stuck at Aston Villa. He can tell all his friends as much as he wants that he wants to join Arsenal in the summer. But if we don't reignite interest, you're stuck at Aston Villa, my friend. That's the reality. That is the reality of the situation. He's going to be stuck at Aston Villa for the rest of the year until his contract runs out, unless he doesn't renew it because he got his move rejected on the final day of the window. They didn't respect his wishes, and they didn't think Arsenal bid enough money. But yeah. That's my take. I'm very brutal on this kind of thing. I think that the club should have no nonsense. We should move on and get actual first targets that we want. And yeah, I just think, you know what, he missed his opportunity, man. Bad luck for him.
It's a bit. I mean, I'm not going to blame the player. Aston Villa was just stupid. Like, he's going to go on a free in the summer, and they decided not to take 25 or 30 million, whatever it came up to. I'm not holding anything against the player. I mean, yes, he could have kicked up a fuss, but then if it doesn't happen, we're going to be like, is he professional? Is he this? Then the other side of the argument comes up. But to me, it's like, I don't know. I think we're at a stage where we need bigger. It's no longer going to be sort of a... I've always said it. I don't think we need a backup to Partey. Partey is the backup and we need a starter, because the amount of injuries he's getting, we need to make sure we're secured and that we've got players who are competing for positions and not just a player that's comfortable. And Douglas Luiz, as good as I think he is, and I think he's a good player, he's just not that level-raising player that's going to take us to the promised land. So, unfortunately, as you said, he's lost his window because we're not looking to depth in our squad. We're looking to improve it and buy in players who are just going to come in and be absolutely level raisers. So, yeah, and that's just not him.
We're being held hostage. Whatever excuse we gave, no one cares, mate. We save ourselves or bust. I don't know what you mean. Do we care about Liverpool's troubles? No, we don't. You're right. No one cares about other people's troubles. Then finally, Palmeiras midfielder, one of the best young Brazilian players in Brazil right now, Danilo. Rumor has it Arsenal could go back in for a £25 million move in January. They're saying he's a ball winner. He's tall. He's strong. And he said they're liking him to a Conte type, not the more technical type Brazilians that we have. But yeah, I think that deal could potentially take place. This could be, if we go back in for a midfielder, I think he's the guy we're going to go for. What do you think?
I'm not going to lie, don't know enough about him. I mean, I've seen like highlights and I've seen what people have put out there, and I've read a few threads from people, but I don't really like to make a judgment on a player based on other people's opinions and what other people have put together. But I mean, if it's to be true, he's a Kante type player, then that's kind of what we're missing. Just someone with high energy, good abilities to just, kind of cut out play, just being able to control that midfield a little bit and just have high energy and high press, which is what we're looking to do. So it definitely is a missing part or a plan B type signing where it's not what we've got, so it can help us in those situations and those games where maybe we need to counter press and we're being pressed and we can't control. So I think it's a good signing on the surface of things. And I mean, with Edu's connections with Brazil and the Brazilian league, and he seems to have sort of an influence over it. He seemed like he gets his pick. If he wants someone, he can get it. So I do think we'll get this signing regardless of if anything else comes in, because Edu needs to get his Brazilian in at least once a window. So I think it'll just be one of those signings. We've made this signing now. Now we can go get our actual targets. That's how I see it.
No worries. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Big up Gunnar Souls for jumping on last minute. This has been a quick little stream. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way out, guys. I will be back Monday with another video on Vibes from the 6th, and we'll be back with more Arsenal news as the news breaks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Hopefully you guys continue to enjoy all these streams. And big up Gunnar Souls for jumping on. Really do appreciate it. Shout out, guys, as you already know. People saying Luiz is not good as a sole DM. You know what? We'll talk about all these things on the next show, my guy. People saying Aaron who Guendouzi ain't coming back ever. 3, Overmars literally done some harassment. Yeah, that is true. Overmars literally is in the mud, bro. So forget about Aaron's Overmars. Tielemans ain't happening. Sane, Tielemans could potentially happen later. Guendouzi's never coming back. But yeah, I'm done for today, guys. You guys have yourselves a good day. Peace, people.